Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Look, I'm super excited to dive into this one with you because today we're tackling the literal million-dollar question. Well, hopefully not $1 million, but the ultimate question every local business owner asks the second they even think about paid search. We are answering, how much do Google Ads cost for small businesses in 2026? It's totally a fair question, right? But honestly, the answers out there, they're usually frustratingly vague. You always hear, well, it depends. Today, we are cutting through the noise. We're going to give you the actual numbers and the real context.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll be covering 1. The real monthly cost, 2. How the auction works, 3. The math behind ROI, 4. Understanding management fees, and 5. Stop wasting ad spend. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the real monthly cost, getting to the bottom line.
So, what is a realistic monthly ad budget? I mean, this is it, right? This is the exact question you're probably wrestling with, pacing around your office right before you finally pull out the company credit card to fund a campaign. You just want to know what the damage is going to be. Well, let's go ahead and clear the suspense right now. For most local businesses, like let's say you're operating in the San Fernando Valley or a similar local market, a completely realistic monthly Google Ads budget is somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 in direct ad spend. Now, let's break that down a bit. $1,000? That's really your absolute minimum. If you go much lower than that, you're honestly just not going to get enough data back to figure out what's actually working. But the real sweet spot? That's right in the middle, around $1,500 to $2,500 a month. That gives you enough juice to test different keywords, learn the ropes, and, actually generate some consistent, reliable leads.
Moving right along to Section 2, how the auction works, the engine behind the ads.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because understanding this completely shifts how you need to think about digital ads. You are not buying fixed billboard space on the side of a highway for some flat monthly rate. Instead, it's like a lightning-fast auction that happens in literally milliseconds every single time someone searches for something on Google. It's called cost per click, or CPC. Basically, you set a maximum amount you are willing to pay for one click. But Google doesn't just look at who has the biggest wallet. They look at a combo of your bid and your ad's quality score. And the absolute best part? You only pay a dime when someone actually clicks on your ad.
But, and this is a big but, not all clicks are created equal. It's crazy when you compare the massive disparity depending on what industry you're in. The numbers perfectly illustrate how fierce competition completely rewrites the rules for your starting price. If you run a local restaurant, your average cost per click might be around $3. Totally reasonable. But if you're a dentist, you're jumping up to an average of $16 a click. And if you're in legal services, oh man, you might be sweating a little bit because those clicks can average $55. And honestly, they can surge way past $80 in super competitive markets. So, your actual cost depends heavily on your specific keywords, your location, and just how many other guys in town are fighting for that exact same customer.
Which brings us right to Section 3, the math behind ROI, from cost to investment.
Let's actually do the math together and see how this builds in the real world. Imagine you run a home remodeling business, say out in Encino. Let's assume your average cost per click is $20. Okay, step 1, you have a $2,000 monthly budget. That buys you roughly 100 targeted clicks. Not bad. Step 2, let's assume a totally realistic scenario where 10% of those clicks actually call you or fill out a form on your website. Boom, that's 10 warm leads. Now, step 3, if you're decent at sales and you close, say, 30% of those leads, you've just landed 3 brand new customers. And finally, step 4, if your average remodeling project brings in $8,000, well, those 3 customers just generated $24,000 in revenue. And that's all from that initial $2,000 ad spend. That right there brilliantly illustrates our next point, a 12-to-1 return. 12-to-1. This is exactly why spending money on Google Ads makes so much sense when you actually scale it right and manage it properly. Now, obviously, not every single business is going to see these exact picture-perfect numbers, but the mechanics, they stay exactly the same. It just proves that this isn't some sunk expense. It is a literal engine for revenue.
All right, let's shift gears to Section 4, Understanding Management Fees. Hiring an expert.
Now, if you decide to bring in a pro to run your campaigns, and a lot of people do, you got to factor in a management fee right on top of your ad spend. Just being completely transparent with you, for local businesses, this typically ranges anywhere from $500 to $2,000 a month. That price tag really just depends on how complex your campaigns are, how many different services you're trying to push, and how wide your geographic targeting is.
So you might be thinking, why on earth would I pay that? Well, because a really good ads manager easily earns their keep through these 5 crucial things. Number 1, they actively reduce wasted spend. They're in there monitoring search terms so you aren't paying for totally irrelevant clicks. 2, they work to improve your ad's quality score, which, actually, remember what we said earlier? A better quality score literally lowers your cost per click. 3, they optimize the landing pages your ads point to, making sure more of those expensive clicks actually turn into leads. 4, they're relentlessly testing different ad variations to figure out what the market actually responds to best. And 5, they give you crystal clear monthly reports so you always know exactly what your return on investment is. No guessing.
And that flows perfectly into our final piece today, Section 5, Stop Wasting Ad Spend, Protecting Your Budget.
Listen, the absolute biggest reason small businesses waste money isn't Google's algorithm. It's really not. It's almost always a bad initial setup and a complete lack of ongoing management. So, the crucial takeaway here is to follow these 5 protective steps. First off, start narrow. Target a really small set of high-intent keywords instead of going super broad and trying to catch everyone. Second, use strict location targeting. Seriously, if you only serve the San Fernando Valley, you should never ever be paying to show ads to someone across the entire state. Just no. Third, add negative keywords immediately to block junk searches. Fourth, set up conversion tracking before you spend a single dime. If you can't measure it, you literally cannot manage it. And finally, review your search terms report every single week. Trust me, you will be absolutely shocked by the weird, random things people type into Google before clicking your ad. Catching those early, it'll save you an absolute fortune.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a massive shift in perspective. The real question is not how much do Google ads cost? It's actually, how much does a new customer cost and is it worth it? Really think about that for a second. If you drop $2,000 on ads and you get 5 new customers worth $5,000 each, that's a phenomenal investment, right? But if you spend that same $2,000 and get absolutely crickets, something is broken with your setup, not with the platform itself. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Look at your own business model today. How much does a new customer cost you right now? And what are you realistically willing to invest to go out there and acquire the very next one?